That's why Jake. Well, good evening, guys. Welcome to episode 31 of Three Men on the Record. We have a special guest today. We're also missing someone. We have, Devo. You know who he is
Oh
right
yeah.
there. We have Scott and me. Jake is missing this week again. This week he's pulling in some extra shifts, I guess, for a coworker. So he's not with us this week. He's in here. He is here on in spirit. We're gonna have a 20-minute moment of silence where you put all your Pink Floyd thoughts in your mind and think about Pink Floyd for 20 minutes.
Ironically, Jake has never had 20 minutes of silence his entire life.
No, he is not. So welcome in, guys. Good to see you guys. I was trying to think of some questions to ask Devo because but this is his return trip here, and I know his position on in the shrink, out the shrink. He is an in the shrink guy with the hype. So I'm going to ask you a couple of things on that. What is your favorite one that you found in the shrink with the hype?
Oh gosh, it's so many. I really like to find the ones that you're not even aware were in the shrink and hype. Like you're flipping through and you're like, oh my god, I didn't even know that there was a hype sticker on this. There's some Beatles record. I'm a huge Beatles fan. There's some Beatles records that are in the shrink and hype, and back from this even the 60s and the early 70s, just having really really cool stuff. But I love like the ones that are like you'll see tonight. I even have a shrink and hype of the record I'm going to add. But I understand what they're meant for, but I always just love the fact that it's just part of the artwork, and that's part of what I really like about a vinyl record is that you have this huge piece of art, and to me it's just something kind of cooler that they put on it. But in terms of like some of the coolest ones, I've seen certainly the ones that have a lot, not just information, but some kind of cool design on it. If they're reflective or have some cool colors. To me, that's really what makes the record, and it just kind of increases the packaging and the eye appeal of it.
Now, is there one that you've seen like online or eBay, or whatever, and you really, really, really want?
Yeah, there's a revolver with My Michelle, and I'd love that. That one is like a huge kind of grail for me. I would love to get that one because not only is that one of my favorite records, not only is it one of the finest records of all time, but it would just be kind of something really cool to me. And it's right around that early time that hype stickers started coming out. So yeah, that's my shrink and hype grail. And I've tried to get them, but they go for a lot of money on eBay.
Yeah,
never seen one in the raw either.
They'll show up. They just find a way. They find a way to just show up in front of you sometimes.
You know when we'll find it? When we're having the house in Austin, 2027.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's when we're gonna find it.
There's a good chance. Well, I gotta tell the story. I had a self realization last night. Josh has bought several records from me, but he bought 3 records last night. And when I see that you pin it and I see it come up, Devolutionator. When I'm checking that record, man, I'm really checking it. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh God, Durst, this is Devo. And I'm like, this must be what it's like when I buy records from people.
It is. But to me, look, it's always cool that something has lasted the test of time. And the cool thing about vinyl records for me has always been that you go somewhere and you find something that's, where has it been the past 40 years? Like, who has had it? How many hands has it gone through? How many times has it made a trip across the country or even, the city? How did it survive in a box in somebody's mom's basement or attic for so long? And then I have it. And then to find it in almost pristine condition. I don't know. That to me is just a really cool part about collecting.
You know what I call those moments, Josh? They're the Ark of the Covenant moments. You open it and you pull it up and you're like, where has this thing, and you get that music. Oh,
Yeah.
I get that a lot with some of these Japanese presses. Like when one comes in like super clean, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this record is 50 years old. How can it possibly look like this?
I like to think that it was a collector like me, somebody as anal retentive as me, was holding onto this record. And that's the cool thing about the shrink and hype too. It's like it's a complete package, and it's not really just shrink and hype for me. It's also did it have an insert? Did it have like a poster that it came with? Did it have some kind of merch sheet? I do have a lot of Kiss records with the merch sheets in them, which is very cool to have because those got sent in all the time. Or people like with the solo records, they formed the puzzle poster and put it on their wall. So to kind of have it all together, Kiss is really kind of the holy grail of like Shrink and Hype completeness collecting, because a lot of them had Shrink and Hype plus a poster and an order form.
I don't even like to buy Kiss Japanese records because I'm like, well, you got to wait. Does it have the bang? Does it have the poster? I mean, like all those Kiss records, they have stuff in them. And when you buy them, the way we buy them, you don't know whether you're getting that stuff or not when they come in.
Well, Sean, what about you, buddy? What's your position? Shrink and Hype, completeness.
I love the Shrink and Hype. I'm a fan of that because again, it is kind of cool. No matter what year. I mean, this one's brand new, but I love the hypes. It tells a story. It adds a little bit to it, and I definitely look for those.
If I know we're talking about this, I would have brought up my 3 Billy Idols. There's 3 different hype stickers that I've found on Rebel Yell.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. and that is kind of cool to me too. It's like now I have I'll find one's like, well, I had this Shrink and Hype, but this one has an MTV sticker on it. I gotta get that one. Or wait a minute, the one I have is red and circular. This one is blue and rectangular. So I've got to get it different. And that to me is kind of the cool thing too, is when you think you have it. I've collected it. I have the Shrink and Hype. I have my keeper copy. But then you're out and you just see like a total one you've never seen before.
Yeah, I did buy a record once. No idea who it is. Still don't even remember because it had the MTV logo hype sticker on there. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I got that. And it was some unknown band that really never, but it had that sticker. So I bought it because of that sticker on the jacket. So yeah, I'm in for that. But we need to do in the future. Next time we're with Devo, we need to record his process of the inspection of the record. Just because, I mean, the light he holds up, it's
bright light.
It's a whole show on itself.
It's equivalent, like I think if you were a restaurant owner and you had the health inspector in your house, that's the way it was when Josh was going from random place in my house where records are to look at records. I'm like, oh my God, what's he going to find over there?
I think that's the cool part of any true collector is that you're a digger. You're willing to go underneath some guy's table with a box and just get on your hands and knees and dig through it. I mean, if you guys, by the way, I everyone knows I'm a huge Bruce fan, Vinyl King. I've been to a store multiple times. I mean, it's mind-boggling when I go to a store and like she'll just like, yeah, she'll let you go underneath the table and you'll go and you'll find this box. And even he'll tell you, I didn't remember this stuff was in here. And just the kind of cool things that you find, something that he bought, 7 years ago, and it's just been sitting there and you can go through it and dig. And that is the cool part of it. And, finding something in a box of, all Herb Albert and Engelbert Humperdinck records, and whatever reason that guy just had to buy Love Gun. But because he wasn't such a huge Kiss fan, everything was in there. You get that poster, you get that insert, you get the merch form, you get the bang and the gun, because he just kept it all inside of it.
Now you probably buy a record just because it has those things and not for the record sometimes too. Like I picked this up. Why'd I pick this up? You guys know why I picked this up? Something that I'll never put on. I'll never do the iron on.
There you go.
The iron on.
Because it's hard to find.
And it's big ass poster. That's why I bought it. And this one's cool because it's the car.
And Stacey even mentioned, like, so Stacey, like, well, I mean, I'm sure you found some great stuff in those boxes. The forgotten boxes of just randomness that they probably meant to get to some point down the road, and then just collections came in and new releases and they just forgot about it.
Yeah. So now I got to find this with the hype sticker and put all the pieces together. And
I'm not above Frankensteining stuff. As long as it's, you got to do that. And you guys will not be surprised to hear that I've sometimes Frankensteined a jacket with an inner with a record, and sometimes even if there's other things too, like inserts, and you create the one perfect copy.
The one of one.
Exactly. Exactly. The one of one.
Well, that's why I'm still working on that James Taylor, like trying to put it together. And I've got my forever copy, which we'll show in a few minutes.
Okay.
And maybe I'll put those pieces to the Japanese, even though the poster and stuff is US. But That's the hint of what it is.
Okay, there's no rules to this.
Yeah. But Joe, I'm not going to hang up the poster. I'm not really into the poster thing anymore because I'm not like 12, you know?
Well, there's that user, and he's a nice guy, that I don't want your Chicago records.
Yeah.
And I always think, well, some people do want some Chicago records, and they especially want that sticker and that poster in that album.
Yeah.
Is, if you can find it, it's gold.
Yeah. I saw that in the post. I'm like, I'm buying it.
Now I need to find that. I'm gotta find one for myself. Now that I know that you have it.
I think it's Chicago. It's Chicago 5, right?
Who knows? Why won't they put the songs on the back of the jacket?
I don't know. I think
Why
it's
would they put the number of the record on? That's a better question in and of itself.
I think it's just them having
Chicago
fun. 8. It's them having fun with everybody. All their records are called Chicago, and they're all numbered. And you think, well, that should be simple. The problem is they don't put the number on the cover, so you got to go to Discogs. It's like, which one is this?
You need a graph. You need like a graph and then line it up. Yeah.
So that's what Chicago Transit Authority. That's it.
Yeah. That's like with me, all my Japanese titles. I don't read Japanese, so I got to put a sticker on it with the name of the artist, and it's a whole process. So why don't we well, go ahead.
Well, I will tell you one of the things that I have seen, which I think is even above what I do, is I have seen there are people that will go to Discogs and print out the entry and then put that in the back of the jacket with the record.
Yeah, Vinyl Lover Vermont does that when he does his show.
Yes, he does. And I've thought about it, but I'm like, I don't need to print out.
It'd be better to have a spreadsheet and copy the URL of the record into the spreadsheet then, because once you print it, like depending on what you print off, like the value and everything, that's changing all the time. Yeah. But if you had the URL where I could just click right to my record, that's what I'm thinking about doing, making my own spreadsheet.
I thought we talked about. I thought you were going to maybe do like a QR code. Like you just put a little QR sticker on the record and you can.
Yeah, and then you could just I need something better, like something better. I don't want to put them all in. I did that one time. I just don't keep up with it. Spreadsheet works best for me.
So with that, guys, anyone in the chat on the Discord, if there's ways you guys organize your records, let us know. Maybe you have an idea that we don't know about, because that's always. I'm going to put it in this way, and then I change. I'm going to put soundtracks here now, or I'm going to mix this in. I get so out of whack when I'm trying to figure out where I want to put records.
Stacy.
So let's show off our new arrivals this week, guys, and we'll start with Devo.
You got any new arrivals, Josh, with you?
Oh, I forgot to bring the new arrivals up. I mean, there's always some new arrivals. I know that one of the things I got recently, Scott and I are big fans of a band called Better Than Ezra, and they re-released Closer very recently, and that is a great record. And I know that I got one for him. It was a nice cherry red vinyl. I also got Toad the Wet Sprocket released, kind of an acoustic greatest hits, which I also picked up. And I did get in, I should probably grab that. I did get in the Billy Corgan signed Gish record.
Oh, nice.
I was able to land one of those, way overpaid for it. But, I'm a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan, not so a huge Billy Corgan fan, but I am a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan. But so to have kind of Gish, which is a seminal record for me, signed by him and Jimmy and James, I thought was really cool to get. So I think those are probably the ones lately that I've been really happy to get in addition to my good friends Jim and Scott's Japanese presses. I think I've got about 10 from you guys in over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, you've been on a little bit of roll. You've been on a buying spree with Japanese press, so, and
including one that my good friend Scott and Jim have been looking for me for many moons. Richard Marx, the debut album Richard Marx on Japanese vinyl. That was a huge one. Oh, I guess hi Emma.
Hey Emma, how you doing?
Yeah, that was. I mean that one is hard to find. I mean, it's not super expensive, but it's hard to find. Funny thing is, I looked for it for 6 months, and then I found two within 2 weeks of each other.
That is what happens when you're looking for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I got a bunch. I finally got all my stuff. Well, because I was away last week, I didn't get my mail from the big show that Scott and Retro did. So I've got Wings and the Speed of Sound.
There you go.
Japanese press. I got
All right.
That's a very nice copy too.
It sounds amazing. Got that.
OG sounds amazing. I can't imagine how that sounds.
Yeah. So we'll compare and we'll. What else did I get that day? I got Alabama, which is not in this stack. I got, let's see, from Jake, I got another Tony Bennett. I have so many Tony Bennetts, I don't know which ones I have and which ones I don't. But I probably have over 100, some mono. Like I have the mono, the stereo. I picked up the reissue on 2LP, the Don Henley's End of the Innocents. I don't have an original, and I've been wanting this. And before I pulled the trigger buying an OG for $80, I saw that this was coming out. Let's see. I
will tell you the 2LP 45 RPM of what's the record with Boys of Summer on it. That sounds amazing. So I really do have high hopes for that one too.
Yeah. So I got some Japanese from Cap City Pop. Some my Hiromi Iwasaka. This one I can't pronounce. Let's see what else. Another Japanese press. Then this one I won. This one I won on the big show.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. That's awesome. I did pick up the Jethro Tull. What is it again? Crest of the Knave.
It's an Essential 500.
It is. And then I got this badass looking woman like she's going to beat you up. And then I got this ska record. I haven't given a listen yet. It's a Japanese ska band. And then the big one, well, we'll do this one next. You just saw it. But Andrea Bocelli, I just picked that up because I have a bunch of his records. And then, of course,
oh my gosh,
Japanese press. It is actually pressed in Japan.
Wow, that's incredible.
With the 7-inch.
That is incredible.
So I basically traded it for my sealed Guns N' Roses Spaghetti Incident. So it was a wash, but I've been wanting that forever. And the Japanese press, well, I sold it and then I used that to buy it. And it was a Japanese press. I'm like, no brainer. I bought it. And someone on Whatnot has a sealed US copy for $200 somewhere. So
that's a good price for that, actually.
Yeah. But that one I was excited. I'm like, I gotta sell the Guns N' Roses today. I sold it, and then in the show I bought that. So
awesome. Scott.
All right. Sorry, I was busy issuing demerits to chat. We're going to start that. You get so many demerits. I don't know what the penalty is going to be, but we're issuing demerits. All right. So it was a pretty good week for me. Got in my, I don't quite have all the Rhino Hi-Fis, but I have almost all the Rhino Hi-Fis. So this is Uncle Tupelo, Anodyne. I can honestly say I've never listened to this record, but I like the members of the band, so I'm gonna give it a chance. Honor of my good friend Adam, I got Working Man's Dead.
Great record.
Actually, I do not have a copy of this record, so this is my first copy ever of Work. I have it on CD, but all right, we got that. Now we're going to get to the really. Are you ready, Josh?
I can't wait. Let's see it. I know which one. All right.
Classic Records. Classic Records, Led Zeppelin 2. It is officially in the collection.
Well, you had one.
Yeah, but Adam bought that one. So,
yeah, okay.
I had to get another one. And we actually found another one. So it didn't sell in the show. And I told Jim, if that record doesn't sell, it is going home with me.
It sounds so good.
Well, we'll figure it out. Next time you're out, Josh, I'm going to collect up some.
Okay.
Yeah, there's someone on Whatnot that has the
have you
more of those classic presses.
Oh, we're gonna do it. We're gonna have a Zep 2 listening party. It's gonna be
I gotta get
76 Japan, Classic Records, MoFi, and
I gotta get somebody to get me a RL cut. Just to borrow it, just so we can do the cut. And many people probably haven't seen this one on MoFi, but it does exist.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. I saw your text.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got to listen to that one too.
And I got to say, I got those MoFis from EC Vinyl.
Eric, yeah, great guy.
Yeah, he was in really good prices on them. This right here is probably a $500 or $600 record. I didn't pay that much because Eric was offering pretty good deals. So
wow,
that one is really short press from what I read.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. It's going to be fun. And if you guys don't know, Scott's listening system is pretty impeccable.
I will just say it's better than Adams. That's how. That's how.
Oh, it's a fight. All
No,
I
Ad-
know is though when I was there, I listened to Graceland, and then side one of the Knopfler Emmylou like 4 times. We never listened to side two, or we always were on side one.
Side one's been played like 14 times because it has my 3 favorite songs on it. So that's what happens.
Well, yesterday was just Willie Nelson Teatro Day for Scott.
Yeah, it was. I love that record. It's so good.
I have 2 coming for my country show.
It's a great record. Daniel Lamwall is a brilliant producer. So
Yes, absolutely, no question.
And then you guys are on July 4th.
Yes,
They're doing a show. They're doing a leftovers super blowout.
We're calling it in honor of our good friend Randy Kiss, who comes into our shows all the time. He said the funniest thing at one of the big shows after the buy now, the affordable records had been bought out. He was like, "Well," he goes, he announced I'm leaving. No more working man records here anymore because we had all those grails. So we're going to call it the Working Man's Records show. So
good. I think it's a perfect chance for people who maybe aren't familiar with Japanese presses to take a chance on something.
Yeah, we're gonna be offering some really good prices on stuff, and it's just gonna be like 100 records. We're gonna go over there July 3rd and 4th and meet up with Sean, do a little digging, eat some good food, maybe somewhere, and then we're gonna go back to our Airbnb and do a little Working Man's Records Japanese press version.
Kelvin, I have it temporarily scheduled. I don't have an exact date, but it is in on Whatnot. I'm going to take you to the store that has all the sealed audio files and stuff. I definitely probably want to bring you to that one up in Westchester because it's your kind of records. Because you're not really a big digger. You're more. I think that place would be better because they have all the Rhino reserves, the auto vinyl stuff, and all the RSD titles from the last 10 years. Oh my God. So that will be fun. So make sure you guys. I don't know whose account have you guys have.
It's going to be on Jim's account. So Retro Retreat on Whatnot.
Is it scheduled yet, or?
I don't know if he put it up yet. We were talking about it today. We have a hidden private show that we're starting to put listings in, but I don't know if it's out there yet.
All right, that's going to be exciting, guys.
All right.
When you lighten up your fireworks, make sure you're shopping. Also,
always some reason.
Yeah. All right. So I think we've showed all our new stuff. So I guess we're going to get to the 3 essentials this week, and there's only going to be 9 records today, so this will be a little bit faster than what we normally are. And Jake's not talking about Pink Floyd, so it's going to be a lot faster.
Or Aces, or who else?
Rentals.
The rentals. That's right. Who goes first?
You can go first.
You're the guest goes first.
You're the guest.
All right. So, all right. Let's get started. I picked for my first entry. I think everyone knows that follows me and has been in my shows knows I'm kind of a big fan of the '80s. That I am huge fan of '80s pop, '80s synth pop. In fact, my good friend Scott and I are going to go see the Human League, Soft Cell, and Alison Moyet of Yaz, and that's going to be just a couple weeks.
Oh, cool.
So I've always just had, even though I was in the '80s, I was born in '78, so. But I love the music. I loved kind of a lot of the positivity of it, the danciness to it. It was always so fun to me. So I have picked for my inclusion what I think probably could easily have been on the second part of our show too. She's So Unusual.
There you go.
All right, of course, Frankenheim, and the Japanese version too. And I am just in absolute awe of both Cyndi and this record. One of the cool things about Cyndi Lauper, if you guys don't know, she has a band called Blue Angel before she became a solo artist. And in Blue Angel, she actually had a 4-octave range, but she developed a vocal cyst, and she, for a time, couldn't even sing. So she had to change her voice into what you now hear. And so this New York City girl, born and raised. In fact, what's very cool about this is taken in New York City. Everything in this picture, if you guys don't know, was obtained local to where they shot the picture. This was in a thrift store that she used to work in. The flowers were from a seller outside, it's just amazing to think about how she kind of incorporated her things in this. But this record is often really slept on, not just for the production of it, but for the fact that it had 6 singles. Obviously, everybody knows Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And what's really funny about Girls Just Want to Have Fun is that it's obviously known as sort of a female empowerment anthem. It was written by a dude, kind of like, the song about, I guess, Victoria's Secret. And she completely changed it. She changed the way that it was sung, the vocal melody, and everything else. And here's something that I'm not sure you know, Scott. Do you know that when she was signed, they sent her down to work with the Hooters? And the Hooters were supposed to produce her record, but their ideas for what she wanted the songs to be didn't really jive with her own.
They're on a couple of the songs, though, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
But it was not, surprisingly, they didn't really match where she wanted to go. She has a lot of respect for them, and obviously they're on some of the songs. But Girls Want to Have Fun obviously is an amazing anthem. Time after time, one of the absolute classic, heartbreaking ballads from the time, and the way she sings it, her emotion is just incredible. And then probably my favorite song on the album is Money Changes Everything. Just a fantastic power pop, synth rock kind of song that's great. And then we got She Bop, which is just an amazing kind of, just the riff on that is just incredible. And if you end up getting the deluxe CD, it actually has a live version of it where a lot of the synth is done by guitars, and it sounds great. All Through the Night would be the 5th single, and of course When You Were Mine, probably the least known of it. But the fact that this record has kind of stood the test of time, and when I was doing kind of my research on it, I found out that yes, it did make Rolling Stone's top 500, but at the end it was like 494, 495. But when they redid it 10 years later, it actually became in the top hundreds. It has been honored by the Library of Congress for being culturally historical and significant. And I believe that this record is completely worthy of inclusion onto the top 500.
Yeah, when you submitted that, Josh, I was like, yes. I mean, it's. I will say, Time After Time is an evergreen song. That song will always be. It's so beautiful, and you're right. She just had hit after hit and video after video, and there for a couple years you couldn't escape her because she always had a new single coming off that record, and it sells to this day. I was kidding Jim. He was like. I don't know, he poo-pooed, it's just She's So Unusual. I was like, well, first of all, that record is getting a little hard to get in Japanese press, and it's a really good record. It's a really good record.
And I'm sure you guys have heard the Master Sound version. I actually, believe it or not, I had both the Master Sound and the regular Japanese, and I actually kept the regular Japanese. I felt it was just a little bit warmer, if maybe be the best word. I just kind of liked it a little bit better. I kind of felt the Master Sound was maybe a little too sterile for that particular record. But you're right. I mean, videos all over MTV. It is sold 11 million copies worldwide. I mean, there is hardly a person who doesn't recognize Cyndi Lauper for both her distinctive vocal style or distinctive dress, or what she's kind of done for female artists going forward, and just her positivity. She's a great person. And I'm glad that we were able to experience this album from her.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those records that there's a whole list of records, and we were talking about topics we could have a show on. It's like records that people probably pass over in the bins all the time, and they don't know, like, it's really good. That record is really good. The Hooters record's really good. Kenny Loggins' High Adventure is really good. There's a Rod Stewart record called Out of Order. It is such a great record, but people sleep on those records,
Yeah, Sean, are you a fan?
Cyndi Lauper, yes, I approve. And then also the the video with Lou Albano in the video. She got the wrestling Goonies. Come on, the
Yeah,
Goonies.
these are good enough.
Goonies are good enough, and yeah, she was. And I love the Blue Angels. Actually, if you can get your hands on a copy of the Blue Angels album,
Yes,
it's really good. I enjoyed that album too.
yeah, and it's unfortunate what happened with them. I'm sure you guys know they fired the manager and he sued the ever living poop out of them. And she basically Cyndi was destitute for a long time trying to pay off this judgment that this manager got.
Yeah.
But I think that helped create this record. I mean, I don't think things are ever created in a vacuum. I think those experiences, being in a band that didn't have a lot of support, getting sued by your manager to the point of, every penny you ever made being taken from your bank account, having to work in a thrift store, just to try to make ends meet. I think all of those probably came together to form what we now know of this album.
And she just got inducted to the Hall of Fame, right, this past year?
Yeah, well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's definitely a good choice. And I thought maybe 4 Women on the Record ladies might have put that in, but I think it's one of
I was surprised not to have seen it. I really was. So
well, one of mine tonight is like, what? That's not already in there, and we'll see it a couple times tonight. So I'm gonna do my first one. My first one. Let me get the graphic because I actually don't have the copy right now. I have it on CD somewhere, but I didn't grab it. So this is my first pick. Is Dwight Yoakam's Hillbilly Deluxe. This is his second album. Dwight is definitely. He was the last holdout for the last leftovers of the good old traditional country. The sound that he produced and his disdain for Nashville and all that it was involved. He was born in Kentucky but lived in California and toured, did local clubs in California, and that's where he got and polished his craft. And he had a repertoire of 21 songs that was in his regular repertoire. And the first 3 records, they put 7 of those songs on each record, and they did 3 covers on those first 3 records. And I think it's the covers that brought highlight to him. Like he covered Lefty Frizzell, Elvis, which was Little Sisters, which was his biggest song on this album. And the covers brought the people in. And like Scott was talking about before, that's probably what put him on the map. Is like, oh, that's Elvis song. That was great. And he's doing a great job. And by doing that, they listened to him too. And, and it got him in the spotlight, especially where he had everything against him because he didn't like Nashville. He didn't like the whole record scene. So if you piss on the people that run country music, you better have something to back yourself up so you can become relevant. Like he had a thing against Columbia Records because the way they cut Johnny Cash and left him high and dry. Johnny Cash, that was a staple for years. Keep him on your label. I mean, whatever.
You don't cut the legends.
No, and that's what record companies all about, the money. And this is the only record tonight I'm not talking about Clive Davis. The other 2 I want to be talking about Clive Davis. But at 4 top 10 hits with Little Sister, which was the Elvis song. Then there was Little Ways, Please, Please, Baby, and Always Late with Your Kisses, which was a Stonewall Jackson song, I believe. So 2 of the songs that were big on this album were covers. But the way the producer, Pete Anderson, is the guitarist and the producer, and that's the one who decided to split his songs up between the 3 records and do 3 or 4 covers per album. And I think if you're trying to start, the covers make it. That's what brings people in, and then you go.
Well, Sean, I got to say, Stacy's not happy. Apparently, she's not a Dwight Yoakam fan. But I can't issue Sean demerits because earlier in the week, we were talking. I suggested Dwight Yoakam to Sean, and I gave him this album, or this time. They're both great records, And I'll defend one. I like the Bakersfield country sound, Buck Owens and Yoakam, and Dwight's always had pretty much the same band, same guitarist, and he doesn't use session guys, and they're all very accomplished players. And I think Dwight Yoakam might be the best cover performer ever. Like when he does a cover of a song, whether it's Crazy Little Thing Called Love or it's he did I Want You to Want Me, Suspicious Minds. I mean, they're just good. They're really good.
And he's probably one of the last true traditional country musicians. I mean, from there on, you got Garth Brooks, which to me was very traditional, but this is where it became pop more than it became country. And he's kind of the last guard of that genre of music.
And I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not a huge country fan myself, but you got to listen to Guitars and Cadillacs, et cetera, at least once to understand kind of where this is where I think country music today, this is where it started. I really do think it started with the Guitars and the Hillbilly Deluxe. And like you mentioned, I mean, Dwight Yoakam recorded the album in Los Angeles, of all places. I mean, he just eschewed the Nashville scene, and he went to LA to work with different producers and to incorporate those sounds into his music, those productions into his music. And I think that was kind of really the start of where sort of, rock country kind of came about. And I think you can just trace all the, like, Garth Brooks, Brad Paisley, Chris Stapleton, Anna Avery, like all those people that have kind of come after and have hybrided this sort of LA scene with country music. I think you all got to thank Dwight Yoakam.
And I think too is how much bigger would he have been because the fact that he probably got, he didn't get nominated for the CMA Awards when he probably should have. He didn't get the airplay on the main country stations for a while. I mean, would he have been bigger than Garth Brooks at that point? Because they just kind of ignored him. And who knows? But we're lucky we have him. So that's my pick.
Good pick, Sean, despite some of the dissension in the chat.
Plus, let's not forget, he is central to the plots of both Crank and Crank 2.
Yeah.
Was he in Tremors? I don't know. Was he in Tremors? He was in a bunch of movies.
He was in Switchblade. He was pretty good. He's not a bad actor, really.
No, he's not.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to let me look at my albums here. Okay, so I'm continuing on a little bit with the theme last week of sticking in some records that just as we approach, I'm like, this record's got to be in there. So there's a good chance that even Josh, as much as he knows about music, may not know this record.
Let's find out. I'm chomping at the bit.
But I'll give you a hint, Josh. You ready?
Okay.
And the first level of the hint is As Far as Siam. Do you know that reference?
No. I mean, I know Siam, but
how about Lunatic Fringe?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's Red Rider, isn't it?
All right. Who's the lead of Red Rider? The singer, guitar, song, chief
Sammy
song?
Hagar?
No.
It's not coming to me.
All right, here we go. It is Tom Cochrane, and this record is Mad Mad World.
Oh gosh, great record. It's a highway.
Yeah, that's right. That's where everybody's gonna know. This guy, 1991, before Rascal Flatts covered it, he had a hit, a big hit with "Life Is a Highway." This album, which is remarkable for him, I don't know that any of the Red Rider or other Tom Cochrane solo records went platinum. This sold 2 million copies. And of course you get sucked in with a killer single. And I do like Tom Cochrane's version better because it's just more rock.
Yeah.
But the rest of the songs on here, like No Regret, Sinking Like a Sunset, Washed Away, Bigger Man, Friendly Advice, it is one solid record. And so I'm going to, no, it's not the Reynolds, Sean. It's not like that. This is actually good. This is good music. So, our good buddy Tucker is recovering a little bit. I think we overworked him with on the reviews, but at some point I'll get him to listen to this. And all I can say, if you read Discord, you'll find out these records I'm suggesting that not many people know. At least Tucker loves them when I suggest them. So me and Tucker are jiving together, but this is a great record. Absolutely great. and a little respect to our Canadian brothers there. He did win like 7 Juno Awards for this record, and great record.
I was just going to mention about about especially Canadian artists. I honestly think that they're really slept on. I mean, one of my favorite bands of all time is Our Lady Peace, and they're a big Canadian band. But there are other, especially if you're into like '90s kind of hard rock alternative. It's just a complete. There's so many bands, that come from Canada. You got Big Wreck and the Matthew Good Band, and I'm Mother Earth. Like it's just kind of this massive treasure trove of once you start to get into the Canadian artists. But what Tom Cochrane did with Life Is a Highway, I think it's just kind of indicative of really taking a song and making it your own. And he really did. I mean, even today, like I agree with you. I prefer his version way over Rascal Flatts' version. It's maybe because of what I grew up on, what I heard, but I just think it's more fun, to be honest with you.
Well, not like, I mean, I don't know what, I mean, that's probably his version's probably a top 20 US chart. And then he turned around and Rascal Flatts covers it. Like he was just getting royalty checks. So like, here's the part that said, thank you. I'll take them, because it was a #1 country song. So anyway, I got to give credit to Tom Gurus. He did guess Tom Cochrane. The man knows some music too. So yes, that Tom Cochrane was correct.
All right. So we're back around to Devo.
All right. This, I feel like there's going to be some dissension with this, but I will just say, I always like to kind of give a little bit of preview before I show the record. So this is from a band, as I always like to do different decades. So this would be my late 60s, 70s record. A band that had already obtained massive stardom on the top of 2 pretty heavy records. And they wanted to create something a little bit different. And I think what they ended up with, to me, is just their swan song. I think it's the perfect marriage of who this band really was, which was a mixture of what would probably be heavy metal and folk acoustic rock. Of course, who else could I be talking about but Led Zeppelin? Led Zeppelin 3, to me, is exactly everything this band is. Of course, the 76 Japanese pressing I always say, God knows how much I love them. And then, of course, the OG. And the spinner, always the coolest part about this record. But, these guys went to the Welsh countryside to write this record, and it was a truly collaborative record. The first time they didn't use studio musicians, it was all of them. They found out that John Paul Jones could play a bunch of different things. One of my favorite songs on this record is Out on the Tiles, and that was actually written by John Bonham, which is crazy to think because it's such a complicated kind of syncopated riff. But, what record do you have in your collection that starts with something as powerful as Immigrant Song on one side and something just kind of, just old-timey folksy rock like Gallows Pole? But people keep forgetting like how good all the songs on are. This Friends is unbelievable. Celebration Day is just incredible in terms of the musicality, the riffs, the drumming. Again, Out on the Tiles, but let's not forget about Since I've Been Loving You, which is probably it's been played by them, I think, on almost every concert since then. Anytime even you get a concert that has 6 or 7 Zepp songs on it, Since I've Been Loving You is typically one of them. And so just side one by itself, to me, is like a greatest hits record. But that's not even close to where it ends, because you've got Gallows Pole, you've got Tangerine, which is just an amazing song. That's
amazing. That's one of my favorites on this
Tangerine, record. And the way they do it in what's the Russell Crowe movie, Almost Famous? That's a great version of it. That's the way. Another beautiful song, Bron-Y-Aur Stomp. I will tell you, I'm not a huge fan of Hats Off to Roy Harper, but all the same, it's just an absolutely fantastic, great record, and I think it has everything you need to do with it.
It feels like, the thing, like, and I think this is a common opinion of the record, it just feels more acoustic based than the records released around it, like 1 and 2 and 4. But I always enjoy it when I put it on. I'm like, it's a good record.
Yeah. Hey guys, hold on 1 second, please.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with a Led Zeppelin record.
Yeah. Well, I would just say about Led Zeppelin, like their first 6 records are just solid. They're just solid records.
Yeah. So my next record is going to be, we're actually going to talk about this record later on too. And it's, Clive Davis is involved in this record a little bit because he said actors, basically he said he doesn't want any part of this project because he said that actors don't make records, and also basically told Jim Steinman that he can't write music. Clive Davis is incredible for a lot of things. For Bat Out of Hell, he was not a fan. My record for tonight is the next one is Bat Out of Hell. This is considered the debut for Jim Steinman and Meatloaf. I think Meatloaf had something a lot earlier, but never really. So this was their debut album. Can you imagine Clive Davis saying that you suck and actors can't make music? Now, how many actors sing now or become actors? It's crazy. And Jim Steinman was an amazing writer, especially with Meatloaf. So it basically is a rock opera. Jim Steinman in college worked on something about a thing on Peter Pan. So this is kind of a carryover from that. And he went to Amherst. I don't know if it's UMass Amherst, the same as Grateful Dentist. I'm not sure. So this almost didn't get made. I mean, they didn't have a contract, and they did, and it's just crazy. It was produced by Todd Rundgren, of course.
Mhm.
You also have the piano player and the drummer for Springsteen that was also on this album.
Yep. Max Weinberg.
Let's see what else. What was I going to say? Totally blanked it now. What does it sell? 43 million copies sold worldwide.
Yeah.
It is probably the #1 debut selling album of all time. If it's not, I'd be surprised. We'll find out later on, probably. But they were shopping around. Todd Rundgren was shopping around talking to Bob Dylan, trying to get it on the Beersville label. But thankfully made it. Then also, Todd Rundgren mixed everything, and they didn't like Paradise by the Dashboard Light. They didn't like the way it was mixed. It almost didn't make the album. And then John Jansen, which was of Springsteen, remixed it, and we got probably one of the biggest anthem songs. You guys know that song. You've been to parties, people singing back and forth, karaoke, the women yelling at the men, and back and forth. It's a kind of a cool moment that song creates wherever you hear it. But this was one where, like, what when I said it to Scott, he's like, "Didn't we do that already?" And I think I even asked Stacy. Stacy was coming. You guys haven't done it yet, and that's why we did it this time.
Now, what might surprise you about an album that has several 7-minute songs on it is that they were actually sped up from the recorded versions on this record. One of the production techniques that they use. Speaking of Max Weinberg, one of the cool things that I found out a long time ago about this record was that I actually had heard on the classic rock radio, like 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad and Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, and then like Born to Run was like right after it, and I was like, wow, wait a minute, like these, it didn't make the connection before, like how related kind of those 2 albums were to each other. I didn't even know at the time that Max Weinberg was the drummer for both. Yeah. But there really is like a lot of corollary feeling between those 2 records. But yeah, it's fantastic. How can you not like record?
And the thing I looked up on that too is they said it's influenced by the rural suburban teenage angst of Springsteen. So it's kind of ties in a little bit, and it's a different way to go at it. I mean, but it's
such a unique record. I can't think of any record that sounds like that record. And Sean and I were talking before the show, and I was like, you could do the top 500 things Clive Davis was wrong about. Like all these stories, like, he's viewed as this genius, and some of his stuff was really good. His insight was good, but he was wrong just as much as he was right. And he was definitely wrong about this. I mean, did he hear 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad? I mean, that sounds like to me, anybody hears that says, yeah, that's going to be a big hit,
Yeah. And every year they sell about 200,000 more copies every year.
And I'll tell you one of the coolest things about not just the production record, but how the composition of the record. Jim Steinman, kind of coming from musical theater, he didn't subscribe to the verse, chorus, verse formulation of music. I mean, he would have 3 verses and then a chorus, and then maybe 1 verse and a chorus, or maybe there wouldn't even be a chorus. I mean, and that's kind of like one of the cool things about that record is that it's kind of like listening to like a Broadway play. Like
that's exactly what I said. It's not like any other rock
and
thing.
that's probably why Clive did not like it, because it didn't fit in that formula that he's so used to, that he just
Well, Elektra hated Bohemian Rhapsody. We all know what happened with that.
My Bat Out of Hell clock, which I do have, which I got from Thomas, is put away to safekeep it because I have knocked one of the numbers off it, and my wife kindly glued that back on. So I'm protecting it till I get my office done. So it's in a box away. But I do have a Bat Out of Hell clock that will be featured prominently behind me in my new studio when it's finished.
All right.
Great selection.
Did we skip Devo on the second album?
No, we did.
Okay.
My second was 3, so now it's Scott's turn.
That's right. I'm old and losing my mind.
All right, so I'm coming of age in the 80s guy, right? So I made sure we got Escape on there and Foreigner 4, and so I'm adding another one, and it's I'm going to play the role of Jake tonight, at least in the things like I'm going to tell you a story before I tell you which record. So that's what Jake does. So it's a group had a monster hit. And let me see, 1, 2, 3. I think they did 4 albums, and then they either kicked out their lead singer or he left. So they had to get a new lead singer, and they'd had hits. They had a monster hit. So they go get this other singer, and he doesn't really sound like the original singer either. So they go in the studio and they do this record, and you don't know. I mean, you could fall flat. I mean, you lost your lead person, you can fall on your face. But luckily, the primary songwriters were Frankie Sullivan and Jim Paterick, and in this group, and they could still write great songs. So they came back with a vengeance, a brand new singer, and they had 2 really big hits off of this. I Can't Hold Back and High on You. That actually 1 and 2 on the record. But why I pick it is it's one of those records, kind of like I was talking about before. You can say, oh, that's just a $10 Survivor record. This is a great record. It is full of album cuts that are just, even when Jimmy Jamison came on board, he sings in a little higher register. The songs were maybe a little more commercially sounding, the singles, but on this record there's some rock songs like Broken Promises, Popular Girl. My favorite song on the record is It's the Singer Not the Song. I love that song, and I don't know that there's a bad song on this record. So 1984, Survivor sold 2 million copies. Had to be a relief for the band to figure out, like, well, we're not going to be selling used cars. We actually, it's got to be nervous after you have Eye of the Tiger. Can you follow that up when you have a new singer? And they went on to do 4 more records after this with Jimmy Jamison before he left the band. And, after about 9 records, a lot of groups run their course, and they had kind of run their course. So anyway, great record, cheap record. I'm trying to also let you guys know this is a record you can buy. Even the Japanese press usually comes in around $32, and well worth it.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know about Jimmy Jamison, and once you hear it now, you'll probably go back listen to it. He of course sings the theme song to Baywatch.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's sort of interesting to hear kind of the difference between, even though it wasn't the album right before it, but Eye of the Tiger, probably their biggest known album. Of course, Caught in the Game would be second, and then comes Vital Signs. But High on You, definitely you get a little bit of Stan Bush vibes with High on You. Of course, Stan Bush vibes. We all know Stan Bush from the famous cover from Boogie Nights and Transformers, of course, The Touch being that song. But I mean, it's interesting, the band I like the first song of that record, First Night. I think First Night's kind of a slept-on song from that record.
That's a good song.
You know, but I think it's great, and I like what they do with it because I think the First Night's kind of a message from the band. In it, like, you know, this is not going to be what we were previously. We're taking a step in a different direction with this new singer, and it starts kind of ballady, and then it becomes into a complete '80s rocker. Yeah. And then the next song is "The Search Is Over," which is, you know, obviously a huge song for them.
Huge hit off of that record.
Huge hit. But you know, I completely agree with Scott. I actually really like this album in a lot of ways more than Eye of the Tiger. I think there's a little bit more variety on it. I think the musicality is better. I think Jamie James is a better singer, personally. I think the hits are just more timeless. I mean, obviously Eye of the Tiger, but you don't associate Eye of the Tiger with Survivor as much as you do with Rocky.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you think, though, of, like, you know, High on You, that is the Survivor song. The Search Is Over is the Survivor song. So it's a great pick. That is a really, really great pick. I'm impressed with it.
Yeah, it's always, you know, like I got these records that I think people kind of look down their nose on. I'm like, you can look down your nose at all, but I know this, when I take it over to the turntable and put it on, I'm rocking. You know, it's a good record.
Yeah.
Do you air guitar when you're listening?
I do. You know, I've even purchased air pedals. So I have the pedals and a whole board of air pedals.
Nice.
So, you know, you gotta switch the tone when you go to those leads. You can't just stay in the rhythm mode.
And if you guys remember last week, Jeff Probst is my favorite member of Survivor. Because he said something about Survivor, and I go, Jeff Probst? Not even thinking band, I said Jeff Probst, which I thought was pretty freaking funny. But
yeah, Jim Paterick was the guy. Because Jim Paterick co-wrote Hold On Lucy, Fantasy Girl, Caught Up in You. The keyboard player, rhythm guitarist from Survivor, co-wrote those songs with 38 Special. He's a good songwriter, very good songwriter.
All right, we're back around to the last pick for Devo.
All right, so this is going to be an interesting record. I don't know if a lot of you are going to have heard of this one, but like Jake and my friend Scott, Jake's also my friend, but this album came out in 1996, but it wasn't actually written in 96 or even really any time close to that, because it was shelved for 18 months because the band's label imploded, and they shopped the record around. But this album came out right in the middle of, like, the heavy alternative period. Enema was this period. Evil Empire was this period. Pinkerton was this period. Alice in Chains, even on Unplugged, was kind of this period. This was right around, I mean, 95 was Melancholy, but this is really when, you know, you're getting, like, the heavy alternatives. And these guys came out with a record that at the time wasn't all that appreciated. But I think as time has gone on, so many bands that you guys love were influenced by this incredible record, Failure's Fantastic Planet. 1996, this record is one of those ones that if you play, you will hear, especially if you're into later bands of the alternative era and even stuff today that kind of mimics this, where it's coming from, you will hear started with this record. This record is sort of a tribute to the band's pain that they were going through when it was being recorded. Their drug addiction, the fact that their their label was imploding, the fact that the music around them was changing. But as Scott will probably mention when he talks about it, the production of this record is absolutely incredible. It is ethereal. It is both heavy and atmospheric at the same time. Bands like the Deftones certainly had influence from Fantastic Planet. Sludge rock came from this. It's just an incredible album to listen to, especially with headphones. And I highly recommend that if you've never heard this record, that you take it into your part and you do it. And what's kind of sucks a little bit about listening on vinyl, which sounds great as opposed to CD, is the album is circular. The way that the last song ends feeds into the first song. So if you put it on repeat, you can just kind of hear how everything flows together. It's definitely a record you should listen to more than once to experience the first time, just to kind of understand what it is, and then afterwards to hear it back again, you'll, I think, really understand it. When it came out, not a lot of critical acclaim. People didn't really quite understand it, and the one single that was released from it, "Stuck on You," is not really indicative of the album itself. But this is one of those records that you'll hear in every perfect circle. Great example of a band that came after this. You know, I can't tell you how many things that you've heard from this. Butch Vig is the producer that wished he produced this record, and there's a amazing documentary on Hulu about the band. If you haven't seen, you absolutely should. So again, I'm very happy to recommend Planet on. If you get it, try to get it on this very cool blue vinyl.
Oh, that is cool. So Steve Albini, did he produce the record, or was he the engineer?
I think he was. I know. Yes, he was, and certainly Ken Andrews, who's actually going on himself to produce quite a few records. Yeah, it's. This is where all the things are on this. You'll get it from this.
Yeah. So Josh, when Josh said that in, my response was, I don't know this record. So he said, well, you got to listen to it maybe twice, but I didn't make it twice, but I did listen to it today, and the first thing I noticed, I guess I'm going to have to resign myself to I'm a production snob, because I listen to how the instruments are recorded. And I was like, man, that drum sounds good. Now, that's how a drum's supposed to sound. And the bass, I picked up on the bass. The bass was very clean, not muddy. So I like the sound of the record. And I was listening to it, so I was like, wow, if this would have came out in 1992, it would have been a huge hit, because it's right in there. It's as good as that stuff. I will pass along, I didn't tell Josh, but I will say Pitiful was my favorite song on it.
Okay, great.
I really like that song. So no, it's good. I am going to give it another listen, because it's one of those things that oftentimes with a record, if a record piques your interest on the first listen, then you should listen again, because you're probably going to start honing in on some of the songs a little bit more. But I was working on something else, but I was finding myself peeking up to see what the name of the songs were. So yeah, good pick, Josh. And I think if you're a grunge fan and you don't know about this album, you should grab it.
It's hard to find too, so you might have to stream it, but definitely take a listen. Sean, you familiar with these guys? You ever heard of them?
No, I haven't, and I can't wait to listen.
Yeah,
because I have nice headphones. I'll be ready.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that.
All right. Yeah, so definitely give that, and guys, again in the Discord, listen to it. Tell us what you think. So my next album, this record has a Guinness record, one of the world records. The longest gap between number one albums for a single artist, for over 28-year difference between the first time this artist came out in 1971, and this record came out in 2000. And this one won 8 Grammys and 3 Latin Grammys. This artist was signed by Clive Davis back in the day. In the 90s, they kind of wasn't signed, and he had talked to Clive, and Clive's, I don't know if you guys are really viable. I need to really listen to you. He invited Carlos Santana invited him to Radio City Music Hall for a show, and impressed Clive Davis again, and they got a record. That record is Supernatural. This record sold over 30 million copies. It won 8 Grammys, tying Michael Jackson's record at the time. And it has a cool cover. Scott just bought a copy. And again, Clive Davis gave him the okay the first time, and the second time, and 28 years later. And this song, I can still hear some of these songs, like Smooth. It's just, you just know it. You hear it, Maria Maria. So it was a huge, it's probably one of the best selling Latin music records of all time too now. So it covered so many things, 15-time platinum. What Smooth with Rob Thomas. Maria Maria with Product GNP, which is kind of a hip hop Latin title. It had Everlast, Eric Clapton, I think his last song, Calling. Dave Matthews is on it. Lauryn Hill and CeeLo Green is on it. So it's a great collaboration, but it's just some amazing music. Put Your Lights On won Grammy for Best Rock Performance Duo Group. Won Latin Grammy Record of the Year. I mean, it just one after another. Smooth was #1 Billboard Hot 100 for 12 weeks, won 3 Grammys. I mean, this thing, why it wasn't on the list already? It's crazy.
I thought about it a couple times, but the thing about it is, I think "Smooth" might have been the most played song that year this record came out, and Rob Thomas was on fire coming off the Matchbox 20 smash record, right? And he wrote the song. There was a story. He wrote the song and he did a demo for it, and he sent it in. And Santana listened to it, and they were like, "Well, who do you want to get to sing it?" And Santana had said, "Well, who's this guy? Can he sing it?" So that's how Rob Thomas. Originally, Rob Thomas wasn't fancying himself as the person who's going to sing it, but they definitely made the right choice. And take advantage of momentum. Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20 had a lot of momentum. That's the lead single. It plays and plays, and what'd you say? 12 weeks. It's dominated. It's one of those songs when people say, "I don't want to ever hear that again in my life."
When they do, they're like,
yeah. Once they put it on, it's like it's a good song. It's a really good song.
And how many people wouldn't know who Santana is without this album?
and
He
Unfortunate.
was out of the mainstream for a long time.
Yeah.
let me tell you, it's funny you say that, because there's 2 things about this album that have always struck me. One, the album's biggest criticism, in my mind, is why I love it as much as I do. It's been criticized for not really having sort of a central voice or central theme.
Yeah.
It's got basically a bunch of guest artists, and then there's interludes that are with Latin music, and it's kind of all over the place. But that's one of the reasons why I like it. It's
Exactly.
like it's an experience you can listen to and kind of get a whole bunch of stuff, but at the same time you get to appreciate where it is at its core, which is great Latin rock music. And the second thing is that it introduced a lot of people to Carlos Santana, who's an incredible guitarist. He's a lot of professional guitarists' favorite guitarist.
Yeah.
He's a guy that, I mean, I also play guitar for like a gearhead like me that's always been changing his guitar sound, looking for cool different ways to express himself. And the guitar tone on this record is very unique. I think there's not a lot of stuff out there that sounded like it. And I think no matter what equipment he plays through, I think everyone knows it's Carlos Santana. It's kind of like you know it's Eddie Van Halen, but I think at the same time you know it's Carlos Santana. Yeah. And I just love this record for how unique it is, and I also appreciate like what you mentioned. I mean, one of the things about this, people also criticize like the production of it. Well, I think he got that. I think he understood that we can't make the record that maybe we would have made if we were left to our own devices, and they trusted somebody who had an ear for commercial viability to come in and kind of smooth it out. And I think you ended up with something that is well deserved of every accolade it's ever gotten. And like you said, I think when people say, "Oh, I don't need to hear Supernatural again," if it's on, they're going to listen to it.
Yeah. There's always a reason. When an album is this popular, there's a reason. And I agree with you. I've heard that criticism of the record, and I thought, like, well, the theme is the diversity. Like, it's, you get that when you put on a greatest hits record sometime, or you put on a KTEL record. Like, I think it has more connection because Carlos Santana is playing guitar, and you hear that on every song.
Yeah. Great pick.
Yeah. And I'm looking on Discogs on the first pressing, US pressing, $250, $300. It's crazy. Because they made it like they printed 150,000. Oh, we need more. They printed more, and they just kept printing and printing. But yeah,
they were printing records and money at the same time.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I've got the reissue of this. It sounds great. So.
Oh, good. I haven't opened it yet. I got it. I got it for like $21.
Spend 40, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I have my copies coming hopefully by the end of the week, or by the beginning of next week. So that I can't wait for that.
Okay, I'm out of my '80s mode, and I'm
Can't
gonna
wait
jump.
for this one.
I'm
Can't wait.
gonna jump to the 2000. Matter of fact, not very far into the 2001. And this is back in the day where you had some streaming, you could try a lot of stuff up, and I'm big into discovery. I don't do it anymore, but I used to every week go to Apple's like new release rock page and just listen to every song. And I hated like 9 out of 10, but when I found one I liked, oh, that went on my playlist. And when I was doing some discovery stuff, I came across this band, and it is Jimmy Eat World. This is Bleed American, and you've heard songs on here. I think the biggest song on here was The Middle, and but great. They had several singles. A Praise Chorus is a good song. One of my favorite songs on it is Sweetness, uh, the Authority song, and I like the little ode to John Mellencamp that they do in there. Not only with the title, but there is a repeated drum. The drum riff is a Mellencamp like drum riff, and I appreciate the little tip of the hat to Mellencamp and Kenny Aronoff on that. Great song, but I'm going to ask my good friend Josh, what is the best song on this record, Josh?
Get It Faster.
Get It Faster.
No question.
We were shocked when Josh said that. We were in pre-show, and he goes, my favorite song on that's Get It Faster. I said, that's my favorite song. That's the one I played and played and played.
So,
and don't you think Get It Faster was kind of like tipping the hat to what's coming next for them?
Yes. And honestly, I think I know what my contribution will be the next time I'm invited on the show. But what's kind of cool about Bleed American is Clarity is one of the seminal, emo albums of the early 90s. And that's the record that kind of came before this. And it's very, very different. But it's just amazing to think that with how Clarity is now viewed and valued by the emo community, that they were dropped after that record. Yeah. But these guys totally believed in themselves. Like I love Jimmy Eat World. I know all about them. They're fantastic, but they really never stopped believing in themselves. They went on a self-funded tour of Europe, and they bought copies of their own records in stores to bring with them to sell at their merch tables overseas. But they never gave up. They knew that they had the talent. They knew that the songs were there. And they knew, Jim Adkins knew that he had this group of songs, with the Sweetness, Praise Chorus, The Middle, Hear You Me, which is an amazing ballad. I mean, it's one of my girlfriend's favorite songs. I'm sorry, my fiance's favorite songs. Mm-hmm. But that record is just, there are very few records I truly believe you can press play on and just let it ride. And this record is a complete adventure from start to finish. Every song on it, I think, is just absolutely incredible. The lyrics, the way that Jim sings the songs, the way that the band plays them. And it's crazy to think that all the songs are in drop D, and you wouldn't think that. You think, okay, well, there's the Soundgarden thing, but no, they really, they take kind of this one thing and make it totally their own. And what's also great, and I think that Scott will agree with this, is not only is Bleed American an incredible album, but it's a great gateway album into the rest of the Jimmy Eat World catalog, which I think is equally amazing, especially as Tom, my good friend, says below, what came after it.
Yeah. And that was, I will tell you, Gurus, that was kind of, when I went to the shelf, I knew it was going to be Jimmy Eat World, and I was pulling one out, putting it back in. The decision was well, if we're going to go first, let me take probably the more accessible album, because Futures has a sinister feel to it, a dark feel to it, but I love it. I love it. And who knows, it might end up on the list too, because it is another great record.
So, yeah, I mean, Sean, you at least have heard. So you've got to have heard a Praise Chorus of the Sweetness.
I have to take it. See, I haven't opened it yet. Scott gave it to me, but I have a complaint. I have to take it out of the shrink to get to the second record.
That's worth it. It's worth it. Take it out.
There's actually, if you really want to get into it, I'm sure that Scott has you have the 3 LP version, right, Scott, with all the demos and the B-sides. Yeah, Jimmy Eat World's a great B-sides band. I think that they. Not a lot of bands, usually you can say, well, this is the record. But I'll tell you, I mean, Bleed American. I actually had the opportunity to see them at the 930 Club when this album kind of came out, because I was a big fan of Clarity. So it's you're in the 930 Club, which is a sub 1,000 person venue theater. This was the old 930 Club before they built the other one. And just to see them like in this kind of big sweaty room, just rocking out to these songs and having everybody kind of dance with you. I mean, this record live, and this band, if you've never seen this band live, go see them live. Go see them live. Especially if they play a smaller venue. But these songs are incredible live. It's an incredible album. And as soon as I saw out of the corner of my eye, when we did the pre-show, I saw that was going to be one of them. I was completely stoked.
Yeah. It's it's funny. You go along and you, like Josh and I have talked several times, but we've never talked about Jimmy Eat World. So when he saw that, he goes, "Oh, I think you're adding one of my favorite records." But I was like, "Yeah, I love Jimmy Eat World."
It's a desert island disc for me, no question.
Yeah, and they keep I have a great Jimmy Eat World playlist, that I do, and I just, you get to mix them all together. Even later on, some of the albums wasn't as strong, but they always had like 2 killer songs on them.
Big Casino, great song from a not so great record, but
yeah,
I do love Big Casino.
Yeah. So
Sean,
right.
we got to listen to it, and you got to let us know.
Definitely will.
Yeah, Sean, I think the starter pack for them is definitely Bleed American, but then that Futures is I just love it. It's so dark.
So Cal, the original 930 Club was at 930 B Street, Washington D.C. So that's where it came from. Now it's in somewhere else, in more of a trendier place next to the Anthem.
Oh, is it? They moved it from. It's not near Howard University or anymore.
No, that was I love that club. And by the way, if you're in DC, go to the Black Cat. Go see a rock band at the Black Cat, and you'll.
Okay, yeah, we've seen 3 or 4 concerts at the old 930 Club. So,
yeah.
All right, great. It was a great venue. I think Better than Ezra, Sister Hazel.
Yep.
I saw somebody else there too.
I actually think about, Scott, how many shows we probably have seen together.
Yeah, we were probably in there.
No, we were there.
Exactly. All right. So, since Jake, unfortunately for him, and I know he hates it because he loves to do these shows. He has a good time, and but work is just crazy right now, and he had to bail on us. But there was an opportunity in all that downtrodden moodness that we had about Jake not being here. And that is, we figured we had like 20 extra minutes. So, and you know how we are with rules on 3 Men on the Record. They're basically considered advice. So we're going to break the rules a little bit tonight. I'd already done it once. It wasn't going to be top 5. It was going to be top 10 debut albums. But I worked pretty hard this week on this, trying to figure out how to do this. And again, thank you, the people on Discord. Great feed. People were feeding me stuff. But we're going to do.
Ooh.
Oh, I can actually turn it when there's only. Okay. We're going to do the top 20 debut albums. So everybody always wants to know what were the guidelines. So it is a mix. Like, a lot of it is how it could be how much it sold. I relied pretty heavily on that, but it also had to have a big cultural impact, and it had to be what I considered musically long lasting. It still stands up. For example, I'll give you an example of a record that's in the top 10 best-selling debut records that I think it's trash. That's Britney Spears' Baby One More Time. So there was no way that was going to go on this record. NSYNC is on there. And I'm like, no way is this going on this list. So, but I am looking like, so what you won't see the Smiths self-titled, right? Really not their best record. That's the other thing I looked at is like, if you were going to go listen to this band, would the debut record be the one you'd listen to? Now on the Smiths, probably not. That it might be third or fourth on the list for the Smiths. So it was tough. I left off some stuff. I will tell you, Van Halen self-titled is not on here. And if it was Scott's list, that would be in the top 10.
Whoa.
So I tried to make this a broadly representative list and had to do a lot of research, but this is what I came up with. And we're going to do 20. So number 20, Third Eye Blind. This thing plays like a greatest hits record when you go back and listen to it. Like, oh, it's so good. And there was a lot of bands like, when I got down at the end, well, I won't say who's not on here because that'll kill the suspense, but this 20th spot was fought out by about 3 or 4 records. I love all the records, but I went with this because I think it had the bigger hits on it. Billie Eilish, the era of Bandcamp and recording in your bedroom and, breaking a lot of traditions and mixing. I mean, is she not like, I don't know, she's the creator of industrial pop, but there's some different kind of sounds that go on in a Billie Eilish record. And, cultural impact. Yeah, she had a big cultural impact. Like everybody was talking about this record. So, we got to give her due. She's not my cup of tea. I can appreciate her artistry, but you'd have to be, locked in a room somewhere to not know that this album was very popular, extremely influential, and, worthy of inclusion on this list.
And it has a whole song about The Office with movie show quotes from The Office too.
7 singles from that record, and one of the great things about it, and one of the reasons I always appreciate Billie Eilish, she writes her own stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like for me, it's not like I don't like her. I when I listened to it, I was like, this is innovative, this is interesting, but it doesn't get me going. But I see how, I see how some people it is. So,
and who doesn't jam the bad guy? Come on, be honest.
Yeah.
And it won a lot of it had a lot of Grammys for a debut record, and it tied Christopher Cross as a debut record with the most Grammys.
Oh yeah, I mean it had to be. When I had about 65 records on the final consideration list that I was going through, and it made it because I know what it is, and it deserves to be there. All right, Counting Crows, August in everything after 1993. I know when I heard Mr. Jones, it's one of those songs in your life where you're like, who is this? And such a good song. And then you get the record and you realize, oh, what a beautiful record it is. And immediately become a lifelong Counting Crows fan because of this record. It's like 12 million seller, by far their best-selling record. Interesting enough, not my favorite Counting Crows record.
Recovering the Satellites. We talked about this.
Yeah, Recovering the Satellites is, I think, a little bit better. But the impact that this record had is huge.
Around here, it still gets me to like listen to Adam, the way he sings it. You just kind of can feel like the emotion that he's getting into. You see it happening. Although Omaha is my favorite song on the record.
Omaha is so good. Anna Begins. Like, it's just, again, all the songs, you could tell they'd probably been together for a little while as a band. They had some really strong songs on this record. All right. Sade.
Great pick.
17, Diamond Life. 12 million seller. And I will tell you, if you get your hands on a copy of Diamond Life, you got a guaranteed sell as a Whatnot seller. People love. She's like she doesn't have all this. Like, she wasn't out there in the media all the time and drawing attention to herself. Matter of fact, I don't think she likes that.
No,
she just did her thing, and her artistry is evergreen. Like, everybody loves Sade. It's beautiful. Vocal jazz, pop, whatever you want to call it, it's beautiful.
And if you can end up with Japanese copies of Diamond Life and Taboo, like You're going to be very impressed.
Yeah, it does. I've had it a few times. It sounds good. It's very hard for us sellers to get this record. Um, I could say you can always get a record if you want to pay way too much for it, but it's hard for us to get it at a price where we can bring it in an affordable way to the market. We just got one though. So look forward to either Jim or I show. We haven't split them up yet, so I don't know who's getting it, but somebody's going to have Diamond Life. All right, so 17, Sade. All right.
Great pick. Great pick.
Wasn't going to leave this one off here because people look down their nose now these days of like a Matchbox 20. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with Matchbox 20? This is a terrific, terrific record. Songs like Long Day, the singles were the singles, Push and 3 a.m. and, but it is, yeah, it's an album chock full of great songs. Yeah. And it rocks too. It's got like Long Day is a
my favorite song on the record.
Huh?
That's my favorite song on the record.
Yeah.
Yep. Long
and some witty lyrics and and 16 million sales. So it was still sells well to this day. And it should.
And you should get the Atlantic 75 of this.
I have it.
Sounds unbelievable. Unbelievable. For a mid-90s record, it sounds unbelievable.
Yeah, I really hope the audiophile, the people who control which records gets pressed. Now, this one was on tape, so that's why it got done, got the audiophile treatment. But if they have all the stems on a digital record, I think some of these people who master and work on these audiophile records, they could do something with these digitally recorded records. And I look forward. One day they'll realize that, the market for Crosby, Stills and Nash is dying or they're dead, that they need to look at the 90s and the 2000s and start doing some of these records.
Or Maharashi Express. We don't need it. We're good.
Yeah. I mean, and Josh is right. I have the Analog Productions version of this, and it is a different sounding record than the CD. It sounds so good. They did a great job on it. All right, 15, The Cars, self-titled.
Greatest hits in the bag.
If this was Scott's list, I might have this as number one because I just think this record is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Not as much sales on this. This is more like 8 million, more in the 8 to 10 million. But again, a record that we get a lot of requests for this record. And if you have it, you're probably going to sell it. And it's a great record.
What's crazy to me about this record is it only had 3 singles, but it should have had 9.
Yeah. I mean, why did they stop releasing singles? And how would they pick them? Because it's just, like one of my favorite songs on the record is Bye Bye Love. Like that is such a great song.
And it's amazing to me that You're All I Got Tonight was not released as a single. I absolutely love that song. And I think they did a great job. I know we don't have a ton of time to talk about this, but what I love about this particular record is both the lead tracks on side 1 and side 2 are just absolute bangers.
Yeah. I have that rule too. Like the leading song on each side should be something that gets you going, and it should be a great song. Like I believe you should not open a concert with a ballad or a slow song. You come out, you play something that rips the top off the place to get started. So, Scott's rules. All right.
Oh.
All right. If this was Scott's list, this record may not be on here because I hate the way it sounds. I think it was recorded terribly. It sounds mushy, and I don't really like the themes on the record, but I love Pearl Jam. So it's their later stuff that I love. I don't really love this record, but you can't deny, why it's down on the list like 14, because, a lot of these records set a new, like when the Cars came out, nobody sounded like the Cars, right? They set a whole new direction of like Pearl Jam didn't. There was already stuff out that had sounded like this. Now they did a good job, and Josh was talking about records that were released at the wrong time. This record was released at the right time, exactly the right time.
And what's impressive about this record though is there is at least 3 B-sides that could have easily been on this record: Alone, State of Love and Trust, which I think is probably the best record, the best song that they record out of these sessions, and Breath. And it's just to think that like those songs didn't make this record, which you could probably replace Oceans and be okay. But otherwise, this record just straight through. Like if this had State of Love and Trust in place of Oceans, I mean that to me would be a perfect record. But yeah, you're right. The production's ass.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just hard for me to get past this. Now, when they redid it, I do have that one, and it does sound better, but it's still, I think it at its core, it's kind of flawed from the recording. So you can only pep up a recording so much, but source material has to be there to do something with it. All right, Whitney Houston, self-titled.
Great picks so far, man. Really great picks.
Yeah, like I mean, she exploded on the scene. This is 85, and what a voice, like one of the greatest voices ever. Single after single coming off this, it made her an instant star, and she would go on to even, with The Bodyguard, and her second record had tremendous success too, and then The Bodyguard, of course, which is one of the best-selling soundtracks I think in history. So, but she was good right out of the gate with Whitney Houston, self-titled.
And 3 singles with the song with the word love in it.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
You give good love, saving all my love for you, greatest love of all.
All right. I made a mistake here. I forgot to fix this. I've reused the PowerPoint from the previous year. So this is not Hawaii 5-0 The Ventures. This is Boston, self-titled, I think 1976. But I was just listening to this record today because I was listening to that MoFi I just got. And you talk about blowing people's mind. The guitar sound that Tom Scholz had and all the layering and, I mean, he basically invented a new way, a different kind of sound for guitar, which many people copied after that. Matter of fact, he invented a pedal, and tons of people buy that pedal.
And speaking of that pedal was used to record all of Hysteria.
Oh, really? Was it?
The Rockman, yes. The
Rockman, yeah.
What's great about this record, this will surprise people about this. Rock and Roll Band and Smokin' were not official singles from this record. But you wouldn't know that by listening to the classic rock AOR radio.
Yeah, that's right, because classic rock, after they stopped releasing singles, they picked up on those songs and were playing those, and you thought, well, they were singles, but no. But side one of this record is darn near perfect. More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, and Long Time. Yep. I mean, my gosh.
But I'll tell you, side B is no slouch either. That's Rock and Roll Band, Smokin' and Hitch a Ride. That's,
very, very, very strong. You would not a weak moment really on the record, and which is interesting. It's like they're almost the rest of their catalog. They just could not repeat the quality of depth of songs. Like they had good songs on other records, but this record is a great record. I don't know that I would call any other Boston record a great record. I love Feeling Satisfied and what was the other single? Don't Look Back, off of Don't Look Back. But I didn't think the record was as good as the first record.
I like Third Stage, but it's not this one. And of course, Scott, we were remiss not to tell everybody that these are not spaceships, but upside down Ovation guitars.
Yep. Guitars. Yeah.
Can't they be both? Can't they be?
That's true. They can be. I hope we're invaded by aliens playing Ovation guitars.
And as Sean said, we said you'd see Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell again. So I have it slotted at number 11. And the only reason I knocked it down, I think it's one of the greatest debuts ever. And probably I would put it closer to the top 5 or top 6. It is the number 1 selling debut album of all time. 43 million copies of Bat Out of Hell were out there in the wild. Wow. And I've always loved the record. It's a great record. It's different. It's I think the only vinyl I have by Meatloaf is this record. I don't really have CDs of the other stuff, but this is the one I go back to. So I haven't listened to Bat Out of Hell in a while. Let me listen to that. So another record from 77 here. Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory. You talk about massive. We may have forgotten it back in 2000 or early 2000s how big this record was. I think the sales were something like 30 million copies of this record. Um, and I would say I like Linkin Park. They're not in my main wheelhouse, but I can respect when you listen to their music. It's always so well produced. They have good sound. It's got some diversity in sounds to it, and really good record. What about you, Josh? You like this record?
I absolutely love this record, and I also love. Well, people may not know, the band was called Hybrid Theory. That was their name when they recruited Chester, and then they became Linkin Park. And a cool story that people that Chester may not really know is during when the band was bargaining themselves. And after a concert, the couple label heads pulled Chester aside and said, "Hey, we want you. The band is all right, but we want you." But he wouldn't even hear of it. That he thought that actually they saved him from, I guess, having a dead end job and bringing the band, so he did that. But Hybrid Theory, I mean, they were doing, I think, what a lot of bands were trying to do. They were trying to combine kind of industrial rack metal with new metal and rap, and it just weren't doing it that great. And I think they had the formula, and that formula was the musicality and Chester Bennington's vocals, which are just to this day impeccable and unbelievable.
I think that's a good way to describe it. So somebody who, like me, who's not in general, I'm not a rap rock fan. Like, I love Papa Roach, but I don't like the rap rock songs by Papa Roach. This was so well executed. I did like this. And I think that's what they did. They kind of, all these people were trying things in different routes. They put it together in an extremely commercial, and I'm not saying they were trying to be commercial, but in a very accessible commercial way.
I agree 100%.
Number 9, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The only Lauryn Hill record. But I guess if you're going to do one that stands the test of time and shows up on everybody's list. And I have the CD. I do not have the record. Again, not in my main listening wheelhouse, but I have listened to it a couple of times, and I can appreciate the artistry of it. And but when I did I was doing research and watching videos and pulling lists, and I'm like, there was not one of those lists that did not have this record on there. And big time seller. I want to say 12 million, 13 million copies. Also influential record. Josh, you know this record at all?
I do, and this is a perfect kind of example of can you separate the music from the artist? Lauryn Hill, especially the way she kind of treats her fans, is not very well appreciated. But she's a phenomenal singer, and this is a great album. I mean, it really is. I mean, I've listened to it several times. I'm not a huge kind of R&B fan, but I just think her talent is undeniable, and it's a great album. It really is. I mean, if you appreciate it for what it is, I think you get there. That's right. I think she was in Sister Act 2. I can't remember which one she was in, but she's great. And I think, though, maybe one of the reasons that it's in some ways I get kind of down on it is because it just suggests what we might have got out of her. Like there could have been 2-3 more really good albums from her.
Yeah, I don't know the background of why only the one record, and I don't know. It seems weird that you win Grammys and you've sold this much and you never put out a follow up.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's it's one of those records that kind of stands by itself, and but we have it, and that's a good thing.
All right, number 8, Doors, self-titled.
Fantastic.
Yeah, really good record. I mean, probably my third favorite Doors record, but you got to imagine in '67 when you hear these guys come out, like you haven't heard anything that sound like this, and the personality that is Jim Morrison. I think we're looking at about 8 million copies sold here. Um, a record that is often given the audiophile treatment, although the original recording, and the reason I think they tried so much is because this record has a reputation of not being recorded very well. So they keep trying to redo it on these audio files. But I mean, to me, it sounds good. I'm critical of poorly recorded records. I don't really have a problem with the way this record sounds.
No, but again, this is one of those interesting ones that kind of falls into the Doors category. I mean, the Cars category. There are 2 singles from this record, Break On Through and Light My Fire. But my God, is this record chock full of hits. Soul Kitchen, Crystal Ship, Alabama Song, Backdoor Man, and of course, The End.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think if nothing else, it just goes to show you like how emphasized singles were when these albums, especially the Doors is an album. Like it's an album you just got to put down and listen to. It's Dark Side of the Moon. It's the Door. I mean, you put it on and you listen and you walk away. That's how this album has to be listened to. You can't do it by the singles, especially since they're on opposite ends of the side one. But it's a great pick, and I think it's just phenomenal.
Well, you bring up something that I really got to thinking about when I was doing the list is, there's not Stones on here or the Who or the Beatles, and it's because albums in the art form that we think of them now, it was probably around 65, 66, 67 that started being a thing. Before they would pump out a bunch of singles, bunch of cover singles too.
Yeah.
And it was just done differently. And I think, Josh, you might, and this is not educated, I haven't done any research, but I said it seemed like albums, the way we think of them, they started in the later 60s. That's when they started doing it this way.
I think you're correct. And I think just from the reason that I said is, you have this emphasis on singles and them looking for, well, what is accessible? And sure, Break On Through and Light My Fire, I mean, are very accessible. But you didn't hear the 7-minute version of Light My Fire on the radio in the 60s. You heard some truncated version of it, or the DJ came on 3 minutes into Ray Manzarek's organ solo. So yeah, I think that's correct, and I think Led Zeppelin probably paved the way for that, of bands really focusing on albums. And this is a prime example of something that just needs to be listened to as a cohesive unit.
Well, the first album that sold 1 million copies in the modern era is Calypso by Harry Belafonte. That's when the album really picked up. That was the first time an album sold 1 million copies.
Really?
Yeah, wow. I mean, it was some obscure
great record.
Some obscure opera album surpasses it, but like a modern record was Calypso. And before that it was always singles, and then they saw the feasibility and that Harry can do this and sell 1 million copies. Albums, that was more of the thing now, more focused to the albums instead of the singles.
Yeah, and I think the thinking was that when streaming services and Apple Music and all that came, that you would see the end of the album. And I would say we have not seen the end of the album.
No.
I don't think we ever will, because there's too many people out there who want that unit, that thematic unit of a record. So we didn't go back to the 50s and 60s, early 60s, where we're just getting hit with singles. Like some bands do release some singles now, but I will say this, they usually end up compiling them and putting them on a record later. So I'm glad the album didn't go away, because I love the album format.
And that, to me, we don't need to get too much, but that to me is what I like about vinyl, that you kind of, it's difficult to skip around. You got to put it on and listen to it kind of all the way through, and that's when you'll hear some of these great songs.
Yeah. All right, Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. Now, this one, I got to put a little asterisk. This was not technically her first album. She had done 2 independent, they were disco-ish, so this is more or less her major label debut and kind of reformat her style. but this, you talking about impactful. Like, this record was everywhere all the time. Another like 30 million copy seller here. Um, you know, uh, I don't know what to say other than I was blown away the first time I heard this record. I was like, that is a good record.
I'll tell you, you know what I think I think this record had a lot in and of itself, but I think there was one very interesting decision that kind of almost came about as an afterthought that really did. I think the fact that they, let's not forget who plays guitar and bass on You Ought to Know.
Yeah.
Flea and Dave Navarro.
Yeah.
And I think adding that sort of element and then pushing that up to the first song, I think really changed that record and the way it was received. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about a record that just had a ton of singles off of it. It was everywhere. 6 singles. You Ought to Know, You Learn, Hand in Pocket, Ironic, Head Over Feet, All I Really Want, which is just oh my God, is that an unbelievable open to that. I mean, people always think that, You Ought to Know is the opening song to it, but it isn't. All I Really Want is, and that's just her vocal stylings, the guitar lines in it. It's just a well-crafted record. And of course, Glenn Ballard is on it, and we can't dismiss that because all that guy.
Well, the sound of this record and what became her style is Glenn Ballard invention. Yeah. Okay, so the closest thing we have to a judge is Josh. He's a lawyer. So, Josh, a couple of members of the audience are crying foul on this one, saying it's not the debut.
I hear you.
I knew that, but I consider it really, to me, it is her debut.
It's an interesting call, but Alanis Morissette, the Canadian pop artist, this is a reinvention. All right. And you can almost say this because this is technical. Okay. However, I do believe that for her first 2 records, she was just going by Alanis. This was the first record she went by Alanis Morissette. So we're gonna. It's technical, but the law is very technical. So I'm going to make the ruling that the Canadian records don't count, and that this is the true debut of Alanis. This is where she is herself, and this is who she's always wanted to be. And it's just such a radical departure from anything she did before. So I'm going to give it to Scott.
Okay, so Josh's official legal determination is objection noted, but
overruled.
Overruled. All right, here we go. Number 6, Led Zeppelin 1. You got to think 1969 when you think, that's, pretty unique sounding. Our first look at John Bonham on drums, and I mean, I to me it's an iconic record. Although I would say not my favorite Led Zeppelin record, but certainly had huge cultural impact when it was released.
And again, very interesting, a record that only has 2 singles, Good Times, Bad Times, and Confirmation Breakdown, but a record that every song on it is pretty more well known. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You is just, I mean, that's an all-timer. You Shook Me, Your Time Is Gonna Come, Black Mountainside, I Can't Quit You, Babe, How Many More Times? It's a record that everybody knows kind of every song on. And yeah, I mean, I agree with Scott. When this came out, there was just nothing like it. And I think it set the tone for what came after in terms, especially out of England. Bands like Black Sabbath and Motorhead. I think this is kind of where, without this record, you don't have those bands.
Yeah.
And remember, that was their second album didn't come out in '69, the same year or right after. It's right. It's almost one album.
Well, this is when you talk about evergreen with respect and still desirable and listened to today. The Beastie Boys, License to Ill. You talk about the magical meeting up of people. Rick Rubin hooking up with these guys was just magic. I mean, and another time when an outsider of the band kind of gave them their sound, and still got people like whenever we get these records, they're in for one show and they're gone. They get gobbled up, and so I had to get this in again. Not I have Beastie Boys on CD. Don't have anything on vinyl, but I can respect it for. I like listening to it because I just think it sounds cool.
Well, I've got no G with Shrinking Hype, of course, but one of the great things about this record, again, it's got 7 singles, but there are still songs that could have been singles. Rhymin' and Stealin' could have been a single. Slow and Low could have been a single. Fantastic record all around. Great debut. And anytime if you got 7 singles, and you could have released 2 or 3 more, that's a great record. No question.
Yeah, we had a license deal. We had to test play it, and it was playing in the background. And I was like, this is a good record. And then we had to test play a 50 Cent. And I love 50 Cent as a person. Like, I think he's funny, but I couldn't wait to get that record off. I hated that record. Whichever one that was. The one with him with the bare chest and the big chain on the front. Not my
LL Cool J, right? Are you?
No, 50 Cent.
50 Cent.
Oh, the Chronic. Another Chronic. It's another Chronic.
Let's see.
So.
50%.
All right, number 4, Norah Jones, Come Away With Me. 26 million copies sold. I think if you go into a thrift store or a Goodwill, this will be the CD you see the most. Like,
I think Jagged Little Pill might actually have that record.
Well, yeah, they're both. Well, then there's a reason. When you sell 25, 30 million copies of records, they're going to show up at these places. But and interesting for her to carve her way into mainstream popularity with basically a jazz vocal, very jazzy sounding, but good is good, and good always, it comes out. And this is I like this record. I've got some of the other Norah Jones I don't like as well as this record, but I probably haven't listened to them as much as I've listened to this record.
Well, I will tell you, this actually Feels Like Home is my favorite Norah Jones record, but this is a impeccable record. Mm-hmm. Don't know why. I mean, it's crazy that she's Ravi Shankar's daughter. A lot of people don't know that, but you don't know why. Come Away With Me. I mean, this is a record that it's a dinner party record. You put it on and it's great kind of background noise, but at the same time, if you really listen to it, it's really unbelievable. And the production is actually quite good too. It's a Blue Note, so I mean, obviously it's going to be pretty good. But her voice and the piano playing and just kind of the laid back chill of it, it's really is an impeccable record, and I do enjoy it.
I will say this is a good record to put on your system when you want to justify how much money you've spent on your system, because it will make you feel very good. It sounds very good.
I get that.
That makes sense.
All right. I was gonna start out this by saying one thing I have by as Jake likes to remind me that I'm old, is I actually lived through the time these released. Like, I was buying records when Boston and the Cars was released, so I have a very good recollection of exactly their cultural impact, how the kids in school were, and I'm telling you, her impact on this record was massive. Every girl was going to thrift stores and buying the I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, they were just doing and I would like to be critical, but I love this record. It is a great record. It's fun. You put it on. Lucky Star, Borderline. I mean, just great record.
Holiday. I mean, yeah, this is a very good record, and I think what people miss about this particular record is did come out in '83, but it kind of introduced it accepted that there was kind of this past, this sort of disco past, and that it had died and people were moving on, and that we're coming into sort of the synth pop, dance pop world. And I think like there's a lot of disco elements. Lucky Star has a lot of disco elements in it.
Oh yeah.
And I think she kind of pulled it. Was like, okay, we were here and now we're going here. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it's a fantastic record for that.
To me, it has an old school R&B vibe too to it on some of the songs. So, a brilliant record, and also I think she is one of the most brilliant marketers. Intentionally controversial, and I would say Lady Gaga ran the Madonna playbook when she came out, because she knew, get your name in the news even if it's controversial, and that's how you elevate. And if you got good music like both these artists do, it'll make you a superstar. You know?
I agree.
All right, we're getting close. Number 2. Had to go with this. This guy just sold an unbelievable amount of records. And, everybody knows that rap is not my thing, but I do like me some Eminem, and I can appreciate the artistry of it. Sometimes you can listen to some of the lyrics and say, "Oh, that's a little tough," or, but to respect his ability to craft these rhymes and, be a little bit edgy and even sometimes step over the line with some of the stuff he says. When every once in a while I watch some of these videos of, where you got Dr. Dre and some of these people talking about, like, there is none of his peers that don't respect Eminem's ability. Yeah. And
now this is another one where you might get a little bit of pushback, because Infinite is technically his debut record, but this is definitely a major label debut. But yeah, I mean, this record is a result of the marriage of Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think the fact that Dr. Dre is sort of taking a complete step back and just being the producer and letting M be the main focus demonstrates to you either how much respect he has in him and how much talent he has. I mean, yeah, but this record's incredible. My Name was revolutionary for the time. It came out and it was like nothing you ever heard before, but at the same time, it was like everything you heard before. it was kind of crazy in that regard. A Guilty Conscience is a great song, Role Model. It's amazing that You Just Don't Give a Fuck is actually a single in a way, but again, M's fantastic. Definitely one of the greatest rappers of all time. This is a fantastic, if nothing else, major label debut record from an artist that is still timely. Speaking of Rick Rubin, he worked with Rick Rubin recently on Kamikaze, and that's a great record too.
Yeah, I like the little ode to the Beastie Boys playing on that cover of that record.
All right, number 1. Here we go. This will be interesting.
Yeah, here we go.
Should have known. Great pick, though. Fantastic pick.
I mean, to me, they kind of fell right in the middle of two eras, like the end of hair band and the beginning of grunge. I mean, I guess you could say there was a little run of what would you call those bands, like them and what's that one band? Faster Pussycat, and then there was Dangerous Toys. So there was a little
Sunset. They're like Sunset Strip Rock, they're LA rock. I mean,
but it was an evolution from the regular hair bands, a little more gritty than hair band, the typical hair bands. And I remember that I was actually in basic training when this record came out. So it took a little while for this record to gain traction. I think everybody knows that story. But so I got on it early because some kid from Chicago brought this tape to basic training. And it's the only cassette. It's the only cassette we had for 8 weeks. And it just played all the time. And I was just like, at first I thought it was a little rough. And then I was like, you know what? This is a really good record. And you talking about something that stood the test of time. I mean, this is now 37 years old and still one of the most sought after records. If you've got a rare version of it, Japanese one, same thing. We just had the Japanese promo version, and I thought, oh my God, who's going to buy this record for $400? It was the first pre-bid in that show we had. Somebody grabbed it up.
And Slash. I mean, as a guitarist myself, Slash has always been just a huge influence of mine. And interestingly enough, like I played Les Pauls because of Joe Perry and Slash, and Joe Perry is one of Slash's main influences. But I mean, this and everyone knows the story about Slash's, the Chris Deering Les Paul and how everything kind of, and of course the amp that he borrowed from the studio that had the mods in it that he kind of stole and became kind of the Appetite sound, and sort of the interplay between Izzy Stradlin and Slash, and just how, and if you do yourself a favor, this is really, it's surprising, but this is a big headphone record. Like because you can hear they really do a great job of separating Izzy and Slash, and with Axl right down the center. And Duff is an underappreciated part of that sound. He really, really is. And I mean, this is one of those records, I think, that when I heard, I was only 9 years old at the time, so I didn't come to appreciate until probably really the Use Your Illusion era. But it's one of those records you hear for the first time, and when it's over and Rocket Queen ends, you're like, holy shit, what was that? Like, it's just like a sonic assault. But it's, especially if you're into this kind of music, like it's just really, really appreciated.
I mean, smacks you in the face and makes you pay attention. I mean, it's just, Mr. Brownstone, of course, Welcome to the Jungle, and, just amazing. Every song has, the more you listen to it, the more you like the record. I will say that. And I've listened to this record, I'm going to estimate 2,000 times and probably 1,500 in basic training. So,
because I mean, I love every song on this album. The ones I don't like are the ones that got the most airplay on MTV. Like I can do
Child of Mine.
Paradise City. I love those songs, but all the other songs I like better. It's just, you heard it so much. It was amazing how many times they would play it. Even years afterwards, Total Request Live, every year, the same time of year, Guns N' Roses would reappear on the list, and it'd be like number one out of nowhere again. But yeah, it is. I mean, I love Mr. Brownstone. That's
a cool song. All right, so let's say this. Either in the comments section on YouTube, you can give me some feedback, but I get the feeling that most of the people watching live will give me that feedback on Discord. We've already had 2 objections tonight to Eminem and Alanis Morissette, and I knew that, but I thought, to be fair to them, like those shouldn't count. And ton of records. Like personally, I got to say, it broke my heart to leave the Killers' Hot Fuss off of it, because I just love that as a debut record. But to be fair to the broader audience, some of these records, it's hard for me to say they don't deserve to be in there. It would be very easy to do a top 50 and every record still be a great record. Because I had some.
I'm surprised you didn't. Are You Experienced is actually one I was surprised not to see.
When I was putting the Zeppelin on, and I'm thinking, should this slot go to Hendrix or Zeppelin? Because when you talk about impactful, that record was pretty impactful too. So, it's just a matter of trying to have some diversity on the list, and looking back at, when I felt like it was a tie, I would go to, well, is the album still like respected today in both Led Zeppelin and Are You Experienced Art? But what's more impactful today directly, I'd probably go Led Zeppelin, So it's tough. It was, I worked on this for so long.
Listen, I mean, reasonable minds will differ. Obviously, Van Halen is a good contender for this.
I love that record. Yeah.
Please Please Me, could certainly go on there for a number of reasons. R.E.M. Murmur, another one that's good. B-52 is great. You're right. Hot Fuss. Weezer Blue Album. Let's not,
Agree.
Land Steele Moore. Pronounce Leonard Skinner. Black Sabbath debut.
Oasis, definitely
maybe.
Yeah.
Boy, Kill 'Em All. I mean, we could go on and on.
There's so many Yeah, there's really no wrong answer. With
And
that.
every record you rattled off was on the 75 list. So
Yeah, I know. You know, if we could do a dark horse one, here's a dark horse one that if this was my top 20, I would have put, and you probably agree with this, Scott. Yaz is Upstairs at Eric's.
oh, it's a great record. Absolutely great record.
I might have put that on there, and the other one I might have changed out. Instead of Billie Eilish, I might have put Lady Gaga's "The Fame."
That was something I was thinking about because it was hard to get all those. The weird thing is there's a lot of influential women debut records out there.
Yeah.
Well, look at that list. There's a lot of women represented on that list. Really tough with that. Left Adele off to 19. Got the boot because I think really 21's where that's to me her best record.
Yeah. So and maybe that's a good topic for another show is 20 best second records.
And it's harder to do on the second one. I think it might be a little tougher to find those best second records. All right. Well, Josh.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, my friend. It's always great to have you on. You're such a wealth of knowledge, and besides that, pretty darn good friend to get me that Better than Ezra record that I would have missed out on, and I would have paid $150 to get it.
Nope. I knew it. It needed to be in your hands.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because you know what that means? The next Better than Ezra record released on vinyl is going to be Before the Robots, and I will buy 10 copies of that thing.
And I would same thing. If it pops up, I'll make sure you get one.
Yes, my God, that's one of my top 10 favorite albums. And speaking of that is the most recent Tucker's takes on his reviews. He was kind enough to review that record, and he came out same way I did. Before the Robots is a remarkable record. I know maybe some people have different Better than Ezra records, but I just think that is a masterpiece of a record. Although they released Juicy as a single, and I absolutely hate that song. Juicy,
yeah, it's not my favorite song.
Yeah, it's campy. But
Desperate Housewives loved it. But
yeah, well, they got paid $50,000 for it, so okay.
There you go.
Yeah, we have to have Scott listen to that Angine de Poitrine, Volume 1. Watch the videos. It's pretty interesting watching just what they're wearing, which I don't understand completely. That Angine, but look at it, listen to it. It's pretty interesting. It's weird to watch, but it's really good to listen to too, though.
Okay, I haven't put this together, and I've always wondered who is Calvin. What is Calvin's Whatnot username?
Calvin with bows. Well, no.
I don't know who it is.
Calvin, who are you?
So we're but anyway, welcome. I'm glad you're usually in here, and we appreciate you.
Yes.
We got some things cooking up here that certainly we're going to get to see Sean in July. That's going to be fun. We are going to do another big show in September. I got to get with Josh and Sean and see if we can get some dates synced up. Love to have them back out. It'll be here at my house. And then Jim and I head to...
I knew just by his curmudgeonness it was Burrell.
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 So we're going to go to Tokyo in October, and then come back and do a big show. And here's something. We're looking at doing a record fair in Babylon, New York, like hosting a record fair. So we got to hook up on a facility and looking at it. And
where is Babylon?
It's on the island.
If that happens, I will talk to. I bet you I could get Yahugi. Might even be able to convince Bruce to bring out a couple boxes. I think Nikki would probably do it too. I think we could get some whatnotters. We could have a good.
Yeah, that's what we'd like to do. We're in the process of evaluating. I've been to the facility. I was just there recently. I have a connection with my brother-in-law. He's tied to the facility. And Jim's going to go take a look at it pretty soon, and then we're going to start figuring out. We've already researched how do we get on the record riot list, and I thought that would be much harder. It's not that hard at all to get on that.
They're nice people.
and-
You bet them.
Yeah.
So,
So we're looking at maybe doing a combination record fair, and then that night doing a big show. So that would be one exhausting day, but it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, that we got some big plans coming up, and I'm hoping our good friend Jake work calms down a little bit and he can join us next week. Not completely confirmed yet, but I think next week is going to be Eric from EC Vinyl is going to be the guest. And then the following week, I think I got this right. It actually is Guru's Tom. So expect a Australian, New Zealand theme.
I'm gonna have to get my Foster.
Midnight Oil. All right.
top list. I saw.
That's okay.
I want to talk. There's some great artists.
Flight of the Conchords.
I mean, there is just some great artists coming out of those areas. So anyway, it's fun. And then 4 women on the record. I think I have this right. July 16th is the date that, and there's already, Stacy's already got her 3 women. So anyway, some fun coming up, and we got to get Josh and Johnny and the crew back together, and Jake for another closing arguments.
Need revenge. Yeah, that's
not. Yeah, Babylon is in Central Iraq actually, historically, but this is Babylon, New York. The last stop on the Long Island Railroad, I think, out there. So,
all right.
Well, thanks so much, guys. I always have an amazing time with you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming and joining us with our show tonight. Thank you very much. And so what do you guys got going on this week? Anything we live at all this week?
Not till next Wednesday.
And Devo goes on every once in a while, but don't miss
I know.
it.
I'm trying to. His work's been crazy. I'm trying to put together a show, but since I've been talking with Scott, I may want to just put together stuff to do a big show out at the West Virginia estate. And but I will have a Beatles show. I have so much Beatles stuff, guys. It's going to be a big, at least 40 records.
I need to have a Elvis show. That
you do.
I just can't get it together. I got to get my act together on that. So,
and then I'm always on the cassette caravan too. We're doing that one's going to be in June. July 24th, I think it's going to be. So I'll be on that. So come buy the tapes, because Scott has actually admitted now that the cassette tapes are way better than any of his Japanese.
He has never said that. I know that for a fact. That
You
he
will
will
not-
never ever say that.
you will
Not
not
a single
find a cassette-
master sound title can beat the cheapest tape that you can get at the thrift store.
Well, Josh, you know this. You crawled all over my listening area down here. You did not find a cassette down there. Now, you
Not a
found a
single
lot of
one.
CDs, a lot of albums.
Not a single one.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week, and thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you.
And I might be on later on, guys.
Oh,
We'll
cool.
see.
Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate you.
All right, guys.
Hey,
Thank
thanks,
you,
Thomas,
guys.
Mom. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, Thomas.